Dan and Corey here, welcoming you into Libservative.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back.
Yeah, welcome in to another rousing rendition of Libservative, intellectual idiots fostering political and cultural literacy. Bella Body Snatcher on the ones and twos. He, as always, is Corey Walsh.
He's Dan Griffin.
I do apologize still because, I changed my camera angle and you can see all of my tools in the construction zone that is the pool table behind me. I swear to God, it's not going to look like that forever, and nobody will care. Because I'm building a new studio down here. Belle, I need you to do me a favor because we fucked up. And I didn't add any hashtags. I added a few here during the intro. Find some, throw them up there. You can edit, right? You can edit that shit, right? You can go up there and edit. Is Belle able to do that? I don't even know. Belle can't do it.
No, right. At the top bar, Belle, next to the Facebook, YouTube thing, there's an edit symbol.
He might not be able to see it. Oh, he
just went,
okay. Yeah, he sees it. Throw whatever you want in there.
Can somebody explain that to me?
That's what I'm saying right now.
You can change what I put too. Anyway,
just
I guess we can
edit
little bastard.
The socialists are coming, Corey. I don't know if you know this.
They are.
Due to all of the Mamdani candidates in New York sweeping their primaries. And I have to say this. Actually, I have to say two things. Number one is I need people to kind of pump the brakes here. This place is kind of known as the Commie Corridor, right? That is a legitimate nickname given to these areas and these primary races. So pump the brakes on what this means. But I will say this as well. It's absolutely not meaningless. And it's really scary to a lot of people, especially to, the Fox News watching boomers. Very scary to see these socialists winning their Democratic primaries. But I got to tell you something. Even the free market libertarian in me that I am, I have to say, I'm kind of excited about this. And you might ask, well, why would you be excited about that? You're a free market guy. Why would you be excited about socialists winning Democratic primaries? And the answer is because our political system has gone so far off the rails that this at least symbolizes a change of some sort away from the status quo, at least within the Democratic Party. Like what the Democratic Socialists are doing right now, obviously we've seen it in New York already, but there are places coming here in the near future. Maryland as well. Abdul El-Sayed here in Michigan has a good chance of winning his Democratic primary. This is the populist left deciding to actually make a change within the institution that is the Democratic Party.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, I oddly support this.
Yeah, you at least have a party that's actually left and not just right light.
Yeah, right.
You know, it doesn't really scare me too much either. First off, it's all a bunch of like I guess you could find fear in like a U.S. Senate seat or whatever, but a lot of these are primaries for like districts for representatives, right? They're not. It's going to be one voice out of 427 trying to push the needle left in a country that is supposed to be representative of everybody, not just
what have we become?
Not something that's just filtered through and then it's just moderate left, moderate right, which is what it was until Trump showed up. And what cracks me up is this is only primaries.
Mm-hmm.
This, like, everyone's acting like it's like,
well, Well, in New York,
Like, what are
like
Republicans? Right.
these people are going to win the general, right? It's like Thomas Massie's district. Whatever Republican had won, whether it had been Massie or that fucking empty suit Ed Galrein, like that was the winner of the election, right? So it is similar in that way. Like these Democratic Socialists are really actually going to be representing the people of New York in their everyday lives.
I prefer to see it personally in more seats like Zohan Mamdani, maybe the governor, or things like that are more like local and states, to see if these little ideas that they have actually work versus it trying to be implemented on a federal scale. Because
but go ahead.
But regardless, right? Like let's see.
Jew hater.
Let's see if it works. Probably won't. But I'd rather see it like that versus it being like someone trying to push like the federal needle. But I don't like the federal government regardless. I don't like the federal government if it's gonna be some Democratic Socialists in there or some right-wing neocons. Like, I don't fucking like them. Everyone's like, oh, they're gonna turn this whole country communist. It's like, all right, McCarthy, like, what are we like? You're using the same talking points as people on the left, saying you're turning the whole country fascist with the Republicans. It's just, it cracks me up, the pearl clutching about this. And then the Republicans are sitting there and scratching their fucking heads, right? They're like, how could this happen to America? And it's like I was saying before the show, and it's kind of the Republicans' fucking fault because they're fucking morons. And these retards are out here parading the system that we have right now as a free market capitalistic society. And Dan, is America capitalist right now? Call me crazy, but do you think America is like a free market capitalistic society?
I'll say no with a caveat, and that our market is freer than most
comparatively.
Right.
Comparatively,
exactly.
we're freer. Right. But it's like all of these Republicans are freaking out while they're over here praising straight up communism and socialism for corporations.
Can I give you some examples? I read this from a Thomas Massie tweet earlier today, who said that you have, the Hannitys and the Jesse Waters and the Levins and the retarded boomer class of the world clutching their pearls over the fact that Democratic Socialists are winning elections in very fucking left districts in New York. Meanwhile, they had nothing to say about the government's 10% stake in Intel. That's number one. The government's 15% stake in MP Metals. That's number two. The government's materials. Sorry. The government's 5% stake in Lithium Americas. The government's 10% stake in Trilogy Metals. And can't forget the golden share that the U.S. government holds in U.S. Steel. By the way,
that's all
Corey,
sort of
let me ask you this question. I know you know the answer to this. Which administration implemented those things I just listed?
The Trump administration.
That was the Trump administration. Yeah,
100%. Okay. Yeah, no, they're fucking they're socialists as shit too. And it's crazy to me that like when socialism is trying to be paid for like towards the poor versus the rich, and like, don't get me wrong, I have a million fucking judgments, and opinions on like the bottom up methodology. I don't think it's going to work either. Polar Knight said good morning from Norway. Good morning. But yeah, no, I don't think it's insane to me that when Democrats want to implement socialism and it's communism, but like socialistic tendencies with where the government has more control of the economy, whether it's through like on the basic principles, right? It's either subsidies or taxes. Subsidies encourage different ways the market moves, and taxes discourage them. And that's what both sides like to do with what they're doing. Like when it comes to our economy, it's just the Republicans do it just for the super rich, and the Democrats come in and they want to do it for the super poor. Meanwhile, the middle class is just fucked. Like you and I, we make too much to get the government subsidies. We don't make enough to not feel the pain from it.
But Corey, that's why when I look at the status quo of the Democratic Party sort of really reeling a little bit right now, I look at it and I go, okay, you know, since we all like to play these stupid lesser of two evils games when every fucking presidential election rolls around, let's do it right now, right? If you're looking at any American who, I don't know, whose net worth is less than, I don't know, a few $1 million, we can go relatively low on this, a few $1 million, and you say, okay, we're going to have socialism for the rich, which is a lot of what we have now, that, you know, the socialists on the other side, the Mamdani types, try to call capitalism, which it isn't. We can either have that or we can have socialism for the poor. What do you think people are going to choose, including you and I, who don't support socialism at all?
Yeah, if I have to choose between the two,
Yeah,
I'm going to choose the one that might actually make my insurance a little bit cheaper, make my healthcare a little bit more affordable, maybe get me a house.
Well, it won't. It'll make all those things more expensive, but that's
In the
beside
long
the
run,
point.
Hezbollah!
sure. But it's like, if you have to choose between the two. And then here's the thing too, is like, and oh yeah, he actually brought up a good point. I was just reading about the Norwegian sovereign oil fund a little bit earlier. They kind of created a trust fund. I don't like, I might be butchering it because I literally read like 300 characters about it, but the Norwegian sovereign oil fund is basically money from the private companies that have to pool money together that gets put into kind of like a trust, which honestly, if Social Security was in the very least was put into a trust, it might work better than what it does now. But yeah, they kind of have that type of thing going on for Norway, and it's interesting. I think Trump is actually trying to do something like that right now. But again, you know, that's why we're laughing Polar Nights, is
You
because
can have
the
it.
Democrats are out here trying to just do like basic social safety nets that the rest of the world pretty much has. But Norway's the perfect example of it. And they're going, that's socialism, that's communism. And then Trump comes in and buys golden shares in companies, and which is like straight up communism, to where now
Daddy,
the
you're my
government
daddy.
has the direct say over what a private industry does, not through taxes or subsidies.
The
but
biggest
just
float
by
that we've
being
seen.
on the board of it. And they're just like, yeah, that's fine.
Very successful,
And-
very rich.
Very successful, very rich. But I think Trump's trying to do something like the nobody likes Democrats, even in Norway. Well, God, it's just because they're just like, so Democrats in like the rest of the world would be like the most extreme leftist, in quotations, would probably be like a moderate anywhere else. You know what I
Because
mean?
they're not really of the left, but that's another
No.
discussion for another,
Yeah,
which
there's
we've
left and there's
honestly had
liberal,
several
and then
times.
there's Democrat, right?
Um,
It's just, what cracks me up is all these Republicans are freaking out about this and doing their pearl clutching, right? And they're going, oh my God, how are all these young people trying to vote for communism and socialism? It's because you're painting capitalism as what we have, which it's not, which is just corporate socialism. It's socialism that is not helping the poor people whatsoever. And you keep fucking calling it capitalism.
well, it's just the basic question of, it's so funny. They always ask this question too of like, why would anybody want socialism? And right now, there's a few different reasons. It's because it's different, because it speaks to the young people that are never going to be able to afford to buy a house. I mean, it's also because they've been taught that we live in a capitalist system when we don't. And academia has been feeding our youth with socialist slop for the better part of 40 years. But I digress, because I want to focus on the good that could come out of this, which is a few of the things you've already mentioned, Corey. The neoconservative / neoliberal global order is absolutely cracking. And people are, and the people in power
I am so happy about that.
Are freaking out about it. So at least as it pertains to the people, I should say, because all politicians do is let us down and expect that. And I fully expect that to happen again, even with the newbies that come in, at least until, it doesn't happen. So you have Democratic voters going for these leftist populists, right? So what do you have? What do you have to compare that to? Mark Levin and Sean Hannity on the Republican side. What do you have to compare that to? You have Miriam Adelson spending millions to fill the heads of retarded boomers with brainworms to boot out populists on the right, like Thomas Massie. Gee, I wonder why the midterms are going to be an absolute bloodbath for Trump and the Republicans. I can't possibly figure out how that could happen.
Yeah, we've called it on the show and we're calling it again, that it is probably going to be a blue wave.
You Zionist and neoliberal Democrats are absolutely floundering everywhere. The socialists are absolutely dotting the map with the death of neoliberal urine stains. Bell, pull up that Mallory McMorrow video that I sent over to you. So like McMorrow and Stevens here in Michigan are next. They lay at the foot of Abdul El-Sayed, who is just another Mamdani type. And
yeah, for Senate, U.S. Senate from Michigan.
When Bell gets that video up, we'll show you what her response is to this. What her response is to the fact that I don't even think they mention Haley Stevens, why they are losing so badly in this primary. Go ahead and roll it, Bell.
There has been a lot of support on the left for Abdul El-Sayed. He's been endorsed by Hasan Piker, who has millions of followers on social media, mainly people under the age of 30. I mention this because he is, and in March, you compared him to white supremacist Nick Fuentes. Now, Piker spoke to Detroit Public Radio about that yesterday. I want you to take a listen and respond.
There's so much diversity of choice in where people can get their news from. So people can come to me directly and figure out what I'm actually about. So that was one of the reasons why that smear campaign failed spectacularly. People started looking at Abdul's campaign. People started hearing what he was saying, and they liked it. And lo and behold, he was in third place before this smear campaign started, and now he's comfortably in first place.
I want to give you a chance to respond to that.
Certainly. There's a responsibility for whoever we nominate as our next U.S. Senator to recognize we have to build and expand a big tent. My opponent made a decision to bring in Hasan shortly after there was an attack on a synagogue here in Michigan where a man drove a pickup truck into a synagogue where 140 preschoolers were at school that day. And had it not been for the security measures, the bollards in place, it could have been the largest mass killing of kids in this country's history. And to bring somebody in to represent your campaign, in my mind, is a very different decision than going on somebody's stream and talking to their audience.
Shut up, bitch! She tastes like cigarettes.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so...
She does sound rather mannish, does she not? Like this, so this is the best that she can do? McMorrow goes.
Yes.
By the way, I think everybody should notice that they put her location up in the top left corner, and it said Royal Oaks, Michigan.
Did it say Royal Oak?
Yes, it did. There was an S on it. It's Royal Oak. But anyway, McMorrow goes on CNN, and like this is the best this bitch has, linking the Arabic candidate to an attempted mass killing at a Jewish school. Which, by the way, there were no deaths. Like this is going to be the play.
Only because one leftist
McMorrow
is around another leftist. Yeah, like don't get me wrong. Like there's a lot of shit that you and I probably would agree with Hasan Piker when it comes to geopoliticals, American interventionism, civil liberties, things like that. But when it comes to the economy, we probably completely disagree with him.
Because
he does get
shit on those
right now. He is getting lambasted and painted by, like the neocons on the right as an anti-Semitic Jew hater just because he doesn't like what the government of Israel is doing in Gaza. But instead of defending her own argument, she's attacking the other person's.
Jew hater.
And the fact of just, instead of like trying to go on the merits, she's just like, yeah, well, he's just all these tropes. She brought the guy out, and then we just had a attack on a mosque here where nobody died, which in America, for American standards, is fucking top notch. Way to go, America!
You little bastard.
We had a mass shooting that no one died at. So way to go.
He's a jealous little bastard.
Yeah, this is, I mean, it's honestly, it's so sad. Like, this is how you know that the neoliberal order in the Democratic Party is completely lost it. Like, they don't have anything. They don't have anything other than to take Abdul El-Sayed and in a roundabout way try to connect him to an anti-Semitic attack on a Jewish school in the Detroit area. That's all she has. She doesn't have anything else. When really, and honestly, to an extent, I get it, because like, the Democrats have lost the plot. Like, what are they supposed to do? What's a neoliberal Democrat supposed to do in these primaries right now? What are they supposed to move to the right? Yeah, that'll work. That'll work out real well for them. Yeah, like that's obviously not going to work. So they're fucked. They're the only thing they can do, really, I mean, to even have a prayer at this point, is to stop trying to paint every candidate who's anti-Israel as an anti-Semite. I mean, at a minimum, at least shut the fuck up about it. At the best, the thing that you could do to maybe go a little step further would be to, I don't know, maybe go on their side of the ledger on that one just a little bit, and maybe you'll have a shot. But people like Mallory McMorrow are these neoliberal idiots that want to, we don't want to like give people money. We're not socialists, but we'll start a social program. We'll start a new program. We'll just raise taxes a little bit, and we'll make sure that this program works really well. And as we know, they never fucking do. And it's, I mean, I don't know. That's really all I got on these fucking neoliberal idiots. Go ahead.
Well, here's your reason for that is on Track APAC, Mallory McMorrow has received like over $100,000 like in 2026 a world called Israel's Actions, a Genocide Under Duress, then immediately walked it back when it became inconvenient.
Here's my surprise piece.
Yeah, so she's getting her bag for just doing that.
I can go down the list.
Yeah, see, be careful, Polar, because in America, I'm not even gonna repeat what he said.
Okay,
actually,
I'll read it later.
Let's get him. He's never going to be allowed in America now. For just that milquetoast statement. Yeah, but yeah, he said as a Norwegian, he loves the American president. It's a little sad the war is over, that they were making a killing on oil and gas.
Jew hater.
I mean, that's what he'd be called, right?
Yeah, he would absolutely.
You little bastard.
Downgrade. No need to visit the USA. Fuck, someone hasn't been watching the world's greatest sleepover right now on TikTok with all the people coming here and loving the place. Yeah, we don't have the best healthcare. You know what? Yeah, we don't have great public transportation, but we we get down. We're friendly. We're not polite, but we're kind.
In a lot of ways, we're basically kind of slow trains.
And it's polite, but they're not kind. And then we're just not polite, but we're kind. If socialism can be implemented in the USA, our system is built for a population, or can't be implemented. Our system is built for 5 million. We've talked about that on the show, actually. That America's
Jew hater
system is set up for a small federal government, and a bunch of large state governments, and it's just being the states' rights are slowly being consumed by an ever encroaching federal government, and it's insane because you get all these same people that were talking about these socialists.
Can somebody explain that to me?
Talking about raising taxes, right, to pay for everything. America takes in $5 trillion a year, Dan, in tax revenue. $5 trillion.
That's why these wars, ever since we were taken off the gold standard, they've started to realize you can't tax enough to fight a war. You can't tariff enough to fight a war. The only way you can do it is to print more money. We wonder why our dollar's not worth anything anymore.
Yeah, I was trying to explain this to someone today because they're bitching about because GTA 6 is coming out in November, right? And it's going to be
allegedly.
Right. Are you gonna get it? I'm gonna fucking get that game.
No, I don't give a shit. I just know, like,
What?
I'm not much of a gamer, but I do know the story behind GTA 6. It wasn't supposed to come out like 8
I get
years
excited
ago,
about
and it's
a
just never
game
comes
every
out.
couple of years. You know what I mean? And that one is one that I'm excited for. But the game's coming out. It's $79.90, or it's like $70 for the basic, and then I think
just paid
$100 for the premium.
$88.
And everyone's like, "Oh my god, this game's so expensive." If you do the math, games at 1995 were $50, and if you do the math for an inflation adjustment with the U.S. dollar, it is now $100. Like,
Yeah, but there's
basically-
also there's
so this
also
goes
no
back to what I'm
physical
saying when you're
disc
talking
or
about just
cartridge
printing
anymore.
money. Yeah, sure. Yeah, which there could be an argument that would make the game cheaper, right? Because there's a whole different manufacturing process you're taking out of it, because you're just literally just downloading it off the internet. You're not having some kid in China fucking put the piece of paper in the sleeve for the plastic thing, and then they're making the disc to put inside of it. You would think that cutting out that cheap labor would make it cheaper. But you know what? I sleep better at night knowing that a kid from China is not slipping some small note into my fucking game that says "help please" and shattering my first world fucking privilege of thinking the world's all cherry and roses.
We're the United States of
I
America.
digress.
We're going to sit on our asses for this?
But I digress. But yeah, no, games are essentially like kind of the same price as they were 10 years ago. What the sad part is because our government keeps printing fucking money for these endless wars, that the value of the dollar has gone down 50% in that fucking industry.
Well,
So,
Corey,
in 30 years.
Well, Corey, that was quite a Mark Levin style rant, and I appreciate it, because it's economic talk, even if it's for games. I don't care. But we have to move on.
I can go down the list.
We're actually still on the same topic, because we haven't even discussed yet how exactly the folks on the right have started clutching their pearls over these Democratic socialists getting elected in New York.
It's all Islamists and communists.
Brother, they have gotten the influencers have gotten their marching orders ever since these primaries on Tuesday. It is now Thursday. Do you have any idea how many times I've seen an influencer mention the woke right, the woke left, the neo-Nazis and the Marxists? Now they've slipped another one in, the Islamists, the quote unquote green terrorists, and black and brown fascists, and don't forget isolationists. These are the 5 points that have been handed down. It's like Miriam Adelson hired some folks to sit in a room and go, all right, if these Jew haters win these primaries, here's what I want you to do. I want you to send out an APB to all of the missing right-wing influencers and say, these are the 5 things you're going to say over and over and over again until we need the next thing. And it's been all over the place. But not just that. We now have Bell, get the Fetterman and Ted Cruz videos ready, because you now have John Fetterman, who, by the way, is supposedly a Democrat.
Well, he had a stroke.
Well, he was a Democrat.
Picture that comes up of him when I said that. God, clip that.
He can't
God,
go
that
so-
is-
So Uncle Fester over here is now. So what are they doing? Instead of understanding that the populist
Seriously
left,
overweight.
the populist left, at least for now, on the Democratic side, is gaining a shit ton of traction. Instead of, I don't know, embracing the populist right, the Thomas Massie types, what are they doing? They are quintupling.
they're doing what the Democrats did 10 years ago.
Yep. And I guess I'm not surprised by that. But they are quintupling down on this sunk cost fallacy and calling you a hateful bigot for not doing the same. It's like you're bad at finances.
Jew hater.
It's like saying that you're bad at finances because you didn't fix the lemon vehicle you bought for the third time in the 6 months since you've owned it. This is where these people are. It is now, and I'll let John Fetterman say this in his own words, but it is now anti-American to be anti-Israel. Essentially what they're saying is America just is Israel. Way to say the quiet part out loud, you fucking assholes. Go ahead and roll, Fetterman.
All right, let me ask this. Why the deep hatred for Israel? Why?
Yeah, because I mean, if you
Hannity just knows nothing.
Israel, I mean, of course, you're also anti-American and you're anti-Western civilization, and you're seeing anti-capitalism and the American way of life. I mean, now they're all socialists, of course, and now
go Bills,
communists, and now Marxists, and now they're proud of this. I know, of course, we have P. Hustle in Maine. That's another one. He's a self-avowed, communist too. Now that's not even looked down on, and a significant part of the Democratic Party right now.
All right, let me ask this.
That was it. That was it. That was it. You are anti-American if you're not pro-Israel. In other words, you have to put another nation first. Remember when Fetterman went on Joe Rogan during the 2024 campaign? He was like the only Democrat that Rogan was able to bring in, and Rogan was all and Fetterman was all kind of on all of the sort of America First agenda that Trump was bringing forth. Remember that? Do you remember that? I know you remember that. And he couldn't speak, which he still can't. But
he did have a stroke. He probably shouldn't be in office in the first place.
We just know that he's essentially just a Trumpist at this point.
And so I'm interesting to see how his career plays out, actually. Because he dresses like a slob, he can barely talk.
It's very Philadelphia.
Does he get a golden parachute? Is he going to end up on some lobbyist board? Because he's probably going to get ran out of office. I don't see him winning re-election. Do you?
Bell?
What's up, Bell?
First president to wear a starter suit.
You saying he's going to become president?
No. Obama did that, and he
he would be like our third stroke victim in a row. Biden, Trump, and then him.
Yeah, I don't know. What's Track APAC say about John Fetterman? I know he takes money, but I don't know exactly.
I looked. It says we love him.
Hezbollah.
Yeah. So just another abandonment of America First. It's anti-American to be anti-Israel. Is there another nation in the history of nations that you could say that about? Oh, you don't support Guyana? That's anti-American. You don't support Trinidad and Tobago? That's anti-American.
Right. And it's wild because even saying that shit, if it was about any other country, like, for example, our buddy...
all of these people would be...
Our buddy Polar over here, if we were talking shit about Norway, nobody would give a fuck.
Nobody would
And Norway is probably twice the size, like in land mass at least, or twice the size of... at least, I don't know the exact... Like, of the size of Israel. They're probably like 10 times the size of Israel.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
Israel's the size of New Jersey, bro. It's small.
Right. Population-wise, I'm sure there's more.
Can somebody explain that to me?
Well, Mark, it's called geography. I know this is difficult for you. You want to load it? Oh, he's got Bell's way ahead of us. He's got Ted Cruz loaded up here. He's going to go on to say essentially the same thing John Fetterman said.
Preaching like a Southern Baptist.
Well, this fucking turd. So we have Uncle
it
Fester.
Is interesting, right?
We had Uncle Fester first, and now we have Grandpa Munster up. So they should do like a comedic monster movie together.
You're absolutely right. I was going to say the grandpa from fucking the Munster family.
Go ahead and roll Ted Cruz now here, Bill.
We're seeing on the right, cancer on the right.
Cancer.
Nobody likes
And it
cancer.
is
Cancer's bad.
Anti-Semitism on the.
That's what everyone in the crowd is saying. Oh, man, cancer is bad.
Look,
Hezbollah!
A decade ago, anti-Semitism began to rise, and the Democrat leaders basically looked the other way and just hoped it would go away. And it didn't. It's consumed their party. There is a very real pro-Hamas contingent.
Except for John Fetterman.
Of the Democrat Party. Here's the scary thing. I've seen more anti-Semitism on the right in the last 18 months than any time in my life.
Jew hater.
And it is spreading like a cancer. Tucker Carlson is the most dangerous demagogue in America. And I will
There's a
tell you
smattering of
it's spreading
applause.
in particular among young people. And I resolved last year that I am going to do everything humanly possible to defeat this poison.
Ooh. Go get him, Ted. Go get him.
I believe this is truly an existential threat. Why is that? Because anti-Semitism is the gateway drug to anti-capitalism and anti-Americanism.
Yeah.
And you can see the Green-Red Alliance with
What?
Comrade Mondami in
There
New
it is.
York City,
Green-Red Alliance.
where the Islamists and communists come together because they both hate the same people. And spoiler alert, those people is us.
Those
Tucker
people
Carlson
is
has
us.
said there's
Are us,
nobody on
idiot.
planet Earth he hates more than Christian Zionists. And he named in particular the two people he hates most on planet Earth are me and Mike Huckabee. And you know what?
I can go down the
wear
list.
his scorn with pride.
I wear that.
Let Tucker Carlson.
You little bastard.
Because I am proud to stand with Israel.
Good for you. Good for you, Ted. Okay, get on with it.
And I'm proud to stand with America.
Oh! Yeah! Yeah!
And I'll say this, Sharia law has no place in the United States of America.
That's right! That's right, Ted Cruz! No
So-
Sharia law!
We got Ted Cruz, the Republican, and John Fetterman, the Democrat.
Which side are you on? Which side are you on?
Dude, what a cage match that would be. A cripple and a retard. Just in the middle of the octagon together.
Damn, we see it all the time. It's called the Special Olympics.
We have to stay woke.
How about we all come together and say, let's stop attacking pedophiles?
Can
That's
somebody
right, that's
explain that to me?
It's already Ted Cruz. Oh, man. But he says a couple of things there where it's like anti-Semitism leads to anti-capitalism. And that might be true. It might even be
I
true.
don't know. That correlation isn't causation.
Well, wait a minute. I will say this, though. I mean, fascism,
Yeah, okay, sure. Yeah. All right. No. You know what, Dan? That
the problem is, Corey, no, hold on. The problem is, who the fuck are the anti-Semites?
I was just gonna say, you know what? That's exactly where I was gonna go. And you're right. Hating a race or an ethnicity or a culture and trying to hone in on them and do something to them and make them a lesser person than anyone else in your country is very, very against America's like values since like 1868. Well, actually, probably since like 1965. We're
the United States of America. We're going to sit on our asses for this?
When America finally scratched their head and went, all right, I guess black people could drink from the same drinking fountains. Ever since then, though, Dan, it's been hating a race based on their culture or their ethnicity has been across the grain of the American Values of cultures, and those are things that, like, in my life and in your life, those are things that we've been raised up to believe, that hating someone on their race, religion, or creed is wrong, right? But where is that happening?
Yeah, it's not,
because they are trying to
Jew hater,
water down anti-Semitism or just racism in general. Both sides are doing it, and painting every single fucking bump in the night as racism, anti-Semitism, and things like that, to the point where Americans' eyes are glazing over. And that's the real fucking problem. Because you know what? On our show, we judge fucking Israel pretty fucking hard.
What did we say about during the Biden administration at the height of the woke nonsense? What did we sit on this very show and say, what happens when you call everyone who disagrees with anything, or I don't know, questions affirmative action, for example? These just like these minute actual philosophical discussions, and you call them a racist. What happens? You're the boy who cried wolf, right? And then when the real racists show up, nobody pays attention. You have the exact same thing happening with
anti-Semitism,
quote unquote anti-Semitism in the the sort of neocon neoliberal order of things, where anybody who criticizes the government of Israel is an anti-Semite. Now, what are you going to do when the actual anti-Semites show up? And by the way, you hear these people all the time talk about how there has been a rise of anti-Semitism, particularly on Twitter or X.
Right, and it gives us pause.
Hold on, wait, that is true. That is happening. But because you've sat there and called everybody under the sun an anti-Semite because we don't want to give $3 trillion to fucking Israel. I made up that number. But we don't want to give all this money to Israel to blow up brown people in the Middle East. You're an anti-Semite. Well, now when the actual anti-Semites start to show up, nobody pays attention.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And then it just discredits the idea of anti-Semitism, which, again, on our show, I have no problem saying anti-Semitism is wrong. Just
well,
like
you are one.
Going
you don't
against...
you don't like Israel, Corey. You are an anti-Semite.
Jew hater.
Yeah. Does that make me xenophobic also because I don't like Iran? Like, I don't know where, like, I'm trying to figure out where the lines are, Dan.
You're an equal opportunity bigot.
Right. And like to the point to where when you see people travel from Indiana, to like Southfield or West Bloomfield or whatever, and they were throwing those pamphlets out their windows, and then we had those other guys like spray painting shit, like Nazi symbols and stuff on fences. The comments are just full of people going, "Oh, okay, is this a false flag?" It's like, no, it's probably just like the echo chamber like imploding on itself of everyone on Twitter and just seeing anti Israel and anti-Jew hatred because of the very fact that we're talking about, because if you just push back against the government of Israel, you're painted as anti-Semitic. So you got a bunch of trolls going, well, then fuck it, I'm going to be anti-Semitic.
You know what I did when I saw all that? You know what I said?
Time for a little drinking pool. The biggest load that we've seen.
Yeah, well, yeah, that too. There was also that. But yeah, this is their meltdown, Corey. This is their meltdown.
So you're seeing what's interesting is like, how long is it going to take the Republican Party going back to what we were saying about the Republican Party flushing out populists? Because we saw the Democrats at this point do it 10 years ago in 2016. And now you're seeing a resurgence of leftists within the Democratic Party, and they're like the floodgates kind of opened, and you're starting to see them find room within that party. How long is it going to take the Republicans to do the same?
I will find out. Hopefully,
because I'll tell you what, Dan, a federal government with a bunch of leftists who are suspicious of the government overreach, even though I don't like their economic standards, but suspicious of government overreach and pro civil liberties and pro life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness. And then a bunch of people on the right, like the far right, which would be like your libertarians, like your populists, right? Who are just basically about the same thing. Basically about the same thing, but their economic philosophy is like less government. I'd much rather have a fucking federal government with those two wings than whatever the fuck this is.
It's like I've said for a long time, when we can actually have a legitimate debate and a legitimate discussion about whether or not to get rid of Social Security, which I believe in, but a lot of leftists might not. I think we've reached a much better place when those are the discussions that we're actually starting to have.
Yeah, no, I want to see it to where there's basically no, like, anybody working 40 hours a week shouldn't have to rely on the government. And the reason why people are paid so little is because of the very socialist problem, like the socialist fucking corporate boondoggle we have right now from the Republicans that are making that happen. And then the Democrats are just picking up the low hanging fruit and giving all those people subsidies.
That's actually a wonderful segue, Corey, because I was going to move on to the housing bill. So Trump is refusing to sign a housing bill that, hold on, I got to pull up I'm going to the wrong spot here. That has some good stuff in it, but again, the libertarian in me tells me
it's a stupid fucking acronym bill.
Yeah. It's so the whole idea behind it essentially is to make housing more affordable, to keep corporations out of buying single family homes, and a few other provisions that honestly folks on his side of the ledger support. But Trump is refusing to sign this bill that, by the way, passed through the House and Senate with flying colors. And there's a few reasons why this is stupid. Not the least of which is the fact that a president, once a bill has been passed through both the House and Senate, has 10 days to either veto it, which then sends it back to Congress to approve, or sign it. What happens if he doesn't sign that bill within 10 days? It goes through. So he's a moron thinking that he has leverage that he doesn't actually have, or at least it would seem, unless he's playing that 5D chess game that I haven't seen him play in 2 years.
It's 4D chess, and I think what he thinks people are saying is like 4D chess, and that he's like, oh, I love big tits. Yeah,
he does love big titties. He does love some big titties. I give him credit for that. One of Trump's better qualities. But it does beg the question: why is this?
Actually, I don't know if he always liked bigger titties because he's in the Epstein list. Oh,
hey,
you're fired. Get out of here.
So the reason he's not signing this bill is he refused to sign it. He refuses to sign it until the Save America Act is passed or the filibuster is dumped so that the Save America Act can be passed. And the Save America Act, most Americans have heard about this. It's the voting bill where they're going to, you're going to be required to show ID to vote, which Corey and I have gone back and forth on this a million times. I think we mostly agree there's really nothing wrong with having to show an ID to vote because most people have IDs. It's not really a big deal. I've showed my ID literally every time I've gone to vote. So anyway,
show my ID every time I have to buy beer at 7-Eleven.
That's true. And also, that's just because you have a young face, Corey. But
they make you scan it at 7-Eleven.
It's
7-Eleven and Kroger.
They do that, don't they? And Speedway, because it's owned by 7-Eleven.
And they fucking scan it. And every time I'm in there, I'm like, oh, I've got to let the government know where I'm at, huh? And they're just like,
and what you're buying.
Yeah.
So it does beg the question.
It's for your safety, Dan.
I actually agree. Yeah, I know. I actually agree that it's a little bit silly that we don't just let a voter ID bill go through. Because we already do it anyway in most districts. But that aside, like, why is it so dumb for Donald Trump to die on this stupid hill? Because it's kind of autocratic bullshit that tells Americans that he doesn't trust them, number one, because you've got to have an ID to vote. But it's also that he wants to punish the American people, or maybe he doesn't want to, but this is what he's doing. Punish the American people for not getting exactly the thing that he wants because he's a fucking narcissist. So let's say he gets what he wants. Right? He gets the SAVE Act passed within these 10 days and, bang, he signs the bill, right? He signs the housing bill. Let's say he gets that. You just told Americans they don't deserve affordable housing because another one of your weird vanity projects isn't going to plan. He might as well refuse to sign the bill until the reflecting pool is no longer decaying. Bell, pull up the Harry Enton video.
I mean,
This
even
is why
that,
this
like,
is
that's
stupid.
like, I don't understand how there just isn't like just common sense compromise. Like, make it to where it's like, okay, the states can do votes however they want, but just when it comes to just the presidential ballot, the federal government wants a government issued ID.
I'm with you. Go ahead and roll Harry Enton here, Bill.
Even though, like, even that though, like before you go
Or
ahead
not.
and roll this, it's just bullshit because it's like when it
Listen,
comes
I've
to
got to give a clue here now. I don't want any more
when it comes
bullshit
to like, and
anytime
there's so
during the
much,
day.
like, propaganda around it. Even when it comes to, like, this is why it's like no voter ID. It's like, all right, whatever, right? When it comes to Michigan, at least, which is a state in the United States, you still have to physically go to Secretary of State to register to vote. And when you do that, you have to be physically in front of somebody and sign a piece of paper with your signature. And if that signature does not match the ballot that you go in and fill out and sign, that ballot gets thrown out. Like, and the people who have been caught doing this the most recently is the fucking Republicans. When they were gathering signatures for ballots, or not ballots, but ballot initiatives for petitions.
Yeah, go to
and stuff
church,
like
find
that.
Jesus.
And even if you you still have to go in to register to vote physically, and even if it's a mail-in ballot, and to think that there's some mass fraud, that some guy is in some dark room who's really good at calligraphy is able to sit there and just mass produce like even 1,000 unique signatures that'll pass the fucking audit is just, I don't know. It's so far-fetched for me. Is there voter fraud? Sure.
Honestly, the one thing that I'm
It is.
not a huge fan of, like, this isn't to say that, like, I think it's causing a mass amount of fraud, but, like, I'm not a huge fan of ballot harvesting. And honestly, it's just a principle of mine where it's like, voting is an American right. You can choose to exercise it or not. There are some things you have to do to exercise that right. And they're not very difficult to do. You drop off your own ballot or you go to your own ballot box to vote. I'm not a huge fan of, like, having people run around and, like, collect other people's ballots. Like, I'm actually really uncomfortable knowing that my ballot is in somebody else's hands.
Who's
that
a
isn't
volunteer.
counting it. That isn't counting it. Like, how do I know that ballot ever fucking made it to the goddamn place it was supposed to go to? At least, because I voted absentee before. My wife and I go out of town a lot in November, like, honestly, during election week. So I can't get to the ballot box. So we get absentee ballots, and we go and we take them in ourselves. Now, maybe it doesn't matter, but I just feel better knowing that nobody else touched my ballot except for the person that's opening it and counting it. At least that's what I'm supposed to believe. Maybe that's not the case, but it does make me feel better. That was just a little bit of an
and I think in a perfect world, we would just have voting day off as a federal holiday.
I agree. I've always said that. That
Can you imagine, man, like how fucking sweet that would be? You wake up super early, you go out and you vote, and then you go to the bar with your friends after, and everyone's showing off
and
their
you watch
voted
the
sticker.
election results.
Dude, think about it, dude. Yeah, you watch the election results at the bar. The bars would have them on the TVs, and then, like, bars would be taking advantage of it. If you have your I voted sticker, you get 10% off your bill and some bullshit like that. Like, you could really make voter participation go through the fucking roof to the point that it would probably put a lot of the other issues of, like, absentee ballots or having to vote by mail by the wayside, because some people are legitimately doing that because they just, the polls are open from 8 to 8. And you might have someone who works a 12-hour day of 7 to 7 or 7, you know what I mean? Like 8 to 8.
Time for a little drinking pool.
That is that was a little bit of an aside, but this is the video that Bell's about to run here is Harry Enton basically explaining why Trump is a moron for doing this. For going, until I get what I want for my own vanity, for my own agenda, the American people don't get literally the number one thing they care about right now, which is affordability, and in particular in housing. Go ahead and roll that.
Can somebody explain that to me?
Affordability. The president seems to think the housing bill is not important. Has the affordability issue just gone away?
You know, if I was a Republican member of Congress and I'm listening to President Trump, the only words that enter my mind are, oh, God, no, what are you doing? And that is because the issue has not gone away at all. Google searches for affordability. Look at this. Up 500% this week versus the pre-2026 average. In fact, Johnny B, they reached, you have it going across the top of your screen, reached an all-time, well, I couldn't get the pen. There we go. All-time high this week. So no, the issue of affordability isn't going away. There's a reason why Republicans wanted this legislation not just passed, but signed into law by the President of the United States, because this is the issue, of course, that got Donald Trump elected in the first place. And they want to be able to give their voters something, their members of Congress something, so that the voters perhaps, don't vote him out of office come November.
Affordability at an all-time high for searches
On
this week?
all-time high this week, affordability.
On the week that he decided not to sign the house.
So Harry Enton said something that you and I, Corey, failed to mention before we had Bell play that video, which is that Republicans in Congress are not exactly happy about the fact that the president isn't signing this bill, because they're stupid in a lot of ways, but they also understand what an issue this is to the American people. You're already well behind the 8 ball, right? You're already having the Hannitys and the Levins and the Jesse Waters and the idiot boomers of the world clutching their pearls over the fact that Democratic Socialists are winning primaries all over the country, or at least all over the East Coast for now, and maybe all over the country as we move forward. So, like, even Republicans in Congress are pissed that the president isn't signing this bill because he didn't get his Save America Act pushed through. And even if you think that the Save America Act is like a good thing, you have to understand why Trump wants it. And why does he want it? He wants it to give Republicans at least what he perceives as an edge in the next election. Because this is what Republicans always do. Republicans are always at least a little bit behind. We look no further than what we just talked about with the fact that Democratic Socialists are winning. And we talked about how the fact that in 2016, Democrats tried this once and they pushed all the Democratic Socialists out, and now the Democratic Socialists are coming back. And where are the Republicans? They're keeping Massie out. They're taking AIPAC money, and Miriam Adelson is forcing Thomas Massie out of office with her money. Right? They're always behind the 8 ball on this stuff. So what do they always do? And it is true that Republicans do whatever they can to shrink the vote. And we know this by the data. We know this by the statistics since at least the early 90s, that when voter turnout is low in general elections, Republicans have a better chance. When voter turnout is higher, they have a smaller chance. So it does be, if you're going to stick to this ridiculous strategy and never change anything you do as the Republican Party, it does behoove you to shrink voter turnout. And that's why Trump is doing this. And that's also why Trump claims fraud when he loses. Trump claims fraud when the people that he backs lose. We know this from his first term. Trump candidates do okay when he's on the ballot. they do horribly when he's not on the ballot.
Yeah. No, he's got a brand for sure. And they always do great in the primaries, and everyone acts like it's some sort of success. It cracks me up, like the Al Galrain thing.
Dog walked in the general. Outside of a few places, like, I don't know, Kerry Lake in Arizona didn't lose by a ton.
Right. But yeah, no, it's it's funny.
Is that it? It's just funny. Okay. We can move along.
Well, I mean,
I can go down the list.
We could talk about a little bit about Thomas Massie, because he is on his way out of Congress come January. But as of right now, he is still the representative for the 4th District of Kentucky. We're all very proud of that. We're all very happy about that, at least for the next, 6 or so months. Thomas Massie introduced an amendment, actually a couple of amendments, to the NSRP Appropriations Act to defund $3.3 billion from Israel. So what is the NSRP Appropriations Act? It is the National Security, Department of State, and Related Programs Appropriation Act. And it's one of 12 annual appropriations bills that you probably didn't know about because you're out there too busy feeding yourself and your family like a fucking person. So I don't blame you for not knowing what the fuck this is. So it's essentially the bill that funds the State Department, if I had to put it in layman's terms. This vote was supposed to take place today. As of our starting of this recording, it had not. If it has not, by the time you've listened to this, please call your representatives. Call the following number: area code 212-224-3121, if the vote hasn't already taken place, and tell your representatives to vote yes on this amendment, because this is
what's the amendment again?
Deal. This is to strip $3.3 billion in funding for the state of Israel for the fiscal year 2027.
NSRP
Appropriations Act. You got it?
Okay.
Are you calling the number? God, I wish when we set up the studio, we're setting up a phone, because God damn it, I would love to make that phone call live on the show right now. I would absolutely love to make that phone call. And the other amendment was to strip the, God damn it, what the hell did they call it? Okay, so it was to strike Section 219, which was formerly Section 224, which is the U.S. Israeli Defense Technology Cooperation Initiative, which was the thing that a couple of weeks ago, until it died off, because we as human beings have in 2026 have the attention span of an amoeba.
That's just an American issue.
It was the thing that essentially tied the U.S. government, the U.S. military to the Israeli military in cooperative technology, essentially tying our two militaries together. That, by the way, that vote has not been scheduled. So even if even if the $3.3 billion has been approved and already voted upon, you can still harass your representatives over not tying the American military to the Israeli military. So please do that. Please harass your representative.
It's not illegal.
As soon as you can.
Obviously, don't make threats. Don't make threats.
212-224-3121.
Don't make threats. Be a concerned citizen and be civil. But you could definitely tell them how you feel. That's not illegal. You can call this number and bitch at them.
Harass them.
You can harass them. 100% legal. We are allowed to harass our representatives in the United States of America. But do not make threats. Whether you mean it or not.
I like
Don't
how
do
Corey
that.
has to give that. I like how Corey has to give that caveat because he's the one.
Oh yeah, because I don't want some doofus calling them and going, "Well, I heard it on Libservative."
I just said harass. I didn't say threaten. I said harass. Those are very
there's
different
a
things.
distinct. There's a well, whole lot. Harass is kind of like a ambiguous word.
That's what's beautiful about our show. We have thousands of hours of us saying terrible anti-government things. Get us in a lot of trouble.
I don't give a fuck.
Do you want to talk a little bit about Daniel Sanchez Estrada? I know I told Bell to hang on to some of this information, so we might bring him in here in a minute. This is a guy that Corey and I, to be quite fair, not looked a ton into this case. So bear with us for just a moment. But this is the guy that was allegedly sentenced to 30 years in prison for moving some anti-government magazines and picked up an obstruction of justice, a terrorism charge. So was it early June that there was a
July.
protest in July? So last year, right?
Yeah.
There was a protest in Texas, an Antifa style anti-government protest, where somebody was shot. This is the way I understand it. Bell's got all the facts, and we'll bring him in a second. There was somebody who was shot at this protest, and I believe died. And so, obviously, somebody gets shot. There's an investigation. I understand this. This makes sense. Somebody gets shot, you should investigate, right? However, the investigation seems to have gotten a little bit out of hand. And Daniel Estrada was holding some, I don't know if he was holding or, but he had moved some quote unquote Antifa literature that was going to be used in the investigation.
Yeah, the allegation is that he moved a box containing anti-fascist zines and materials after the incident.
So
what is that? They getting him for what? We're tampering with evidence or something?
Obstruction of justice. But let's bring Bell in here. Bell pulled up all the information earlier. I don't know why his screen's black. He's still in the Strait of Hormuz. He hasn't gotten out yet. He wasn't one of the 123 ships that have made it through. Where are you on the line now?
He's
Bell?
like, I'm number 124. Fuck.
I don't know. Apparently I have to get Hentaverse in the U.S. to save me on one of their private ships. That's how I get out of here now.
What did we miss about this Daniel Estrada situation? Why did we lose Bell? Oh, because you changed screens. There we go. Go ahead. God damn it.
So the reason that he was being investigated in the first place was because him and 8 other people, they were involved in a terror plot where they went to an ICE facility and launched a bunch of fireworks and apparently shot a responding officer in the neck.
Don't you ever accuse me of a crime.
I believe you just. So they said that all that started from anti-fascist propaganda and leftist magazines that this dude was passing out. And it's funny because he got 30 years, but there's another man named Benjamin Song who got sentenced to 100 years behind bar. Marciela Rueda was sentenced to 70 years, Autumn Hill 50, and everybody else in the case was sentenced to 30 years. So,
we're the United States of America. We're going to sit on our asses for this?
For being the leader, the one that he's basically the Charles Manson of the group.
Who Daniel Rolando was?
Estrada. Yeah.
Estrada. Daniel Rolando Sanchez Estrada.
And that's the craziest part. I think the guy that got 100 years though was the guy that actually shot a police officer in the neck, though. So,
all right, fair enough. Fair enough. But why are we hearing that Estrada got 30 years because he moved some magazines around?
Well, that's because how he recruited everybody. I mean, like, you know how articles are, but he's the one that pretty much recruited everybody with his propaganda and his pamphlets and all the bullshit, and he was spreading it around.
So there's like a RICO case?
Facility. No, I honestly, I don't know where they got prosecuted.
He's brought up terrorism charges.
Right, but like all he had was, oh, God forbid, something protected by the First Amendment.
U.S. No, dude, you didn't hear.
We better start burning books.
There, literally, while they were
right.
there,
No, I know that someone was
passing
shot.
out
I know that
pamphlets
there,
and stuff,
I know that vandalism happened and things like that, but he wasn't a part of all of that stuff.
Can somebody explain that to me?
Yes, he was.
He shot somebody.
He recruited the whole entire group. That was the part of it, and somehow they linked him to
Okay, so he
the guy that
recruited
was
the
shooting.
group,
But
and then they went rogue
he
and
was
did
also
all their
throwing
shit. Kind
fireworks.
of like when Trump was okay. Well, that's a completely different charge.
No,
then,
he
if was
did
actually
shit.
throwing-
Yeah, he was throwing fireworks and destroying property and shit. Like they all were. That's why he got the least sentence. He got 30 years. Like people,
hopefully they
I
get
don't
a
know.
leftist
That's kind of a crazy
president
sentence. It's a crazy sentence. I will say that.
Hopefully some
Jew
leftist
hater
president gets elected and he can pardon them like they did the January 6th protesters.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say that they're gonna get pardoned anyways in the next 4 years, so I'm not really too worried about it.
Yeah. Did you ever think we'd ever reach a place in the United States where like pardons were used as a weird political weapon?
Not until
Yeah.
Trump showed up. And
It's
then
so
because
bizarre.
because when Biden was president as a Democrat, it's not like he tried to bring us back to norms. He just did the same thing.
He just preemptively pardoned his whole family and Anthony Fauci.
I was just gonna say, and Fauci. And then Tulsi releases all that information about him on like one of her last like stands before she leaves. And then as soon as she does that, that Washington Post article comes out and goes, well, she's actually a part of a cult.
Hezbollah!
No, she's not Hezbollah. Shut up, Mark.
You've done a hell of a lousy job.
I fuck invited Mark Levin to be part of this show. I would have him as part of the show. I really would. The real Mark
me
Levin.
too.
What do you mean, why are we doing this? For me to take a position like this, I'm a warmonger?
Yes, Mark. Any position you take makes you a warmonger. You son of a bitch. Oh, man. Anyway.
Good
maybe
God.
We'll have more.
I'll be right back.
Please don't come back. Maybe you and Bell will have a little bit more on that next week because I'm not going to be here. I'm going to volunteer at a
Bell's not going to be here. Me and Bell are going to be taking on this show Wednesday. Just me and him. How do you feel about that?
We're going to be a day early. You'll be a day early next week to celebrate America's 250. I won't be here, which I guess probably makes me like Hezbollah or something.
Yeah. We could celebrate 250 years of America from the beginning to the end, you know, like from British surveillance to
American surveillance.
No, private Swedish surveillance now.
Oh, wait, now the Swedes are surveilling?
What have we become?
That's who owns Flock. It's the company the company that owns Flock, you know? They're owned by some Swedish guy.
Hezbollah!
Yeah. He's just looking at who Corey Walsh is, you know? He's looking it up. You can look it up.
I'm so sorry. I wish I could do something, but I can't.
Me too, Selena.
I don't think she was on her lupus medication that afternoon. She does have lupus, right? I'm not making that up.
I don't know.
And he takes the fat.
I don't know that much.
The fat shot drug.
All right. Should we get out of here or did we miss something? Did you want to talk about this Second Amendment thing in Hawaii,
You and
Corey?
I both want to leave so we can watch America or the USA game, don't we?
I really have to piss. Oh, fuck. Bell, thank you for throwing that up on the screen. We have to do
Mango
our gratuitous
tea?
Mark Levin rant. We almost forgot to do our gratuitous Mark Levin rant, and Bell just saved our ass, which is why we pay him the big bucks. This isn't actually Mark Levin. This is...
I just paid $88.
Alex, yeah. That's all Bell has made in his entire time as our producer, because we can't pay him like Mark Levin can. At least we know Bell's name, unlike Mark Levin not knowing his producer's name ever.
Very successful, very rich.
So this is actually Alex Jones, and who's that guy he does his show with? Rex, I forget his name. The guy with the birthmark on his head.
He looks like, he looks like Khrushchev, or not Khrushchev, Gorbachev.
Yeah, the guy who got the axe in the head.
He got an axe to the head
or something like that. I don't remember. Am I thinking of somebody else? Am I running my Russian history together? I don't really care at this moment. I've had a couple of beers, and that's okay. But this is them basically arguing, not really arguing, but discussing who has the better Mark Levin impression. Go ahead, Bell. Let's listen to some comedy here before we end the show.
What do you mean? Why are we doing this?
Mark Levin, it's time to do what Trump did in Japan. Use the nukes.
Right. Your Mark Levin impression is pretty good, but mine's better. Hamas and Hezbollah. That's the problem, isn't it, Mr. Producer? You got to get it a little bit lower.
A little bit lower there.
Hezbollah.
I don't know anything about the military, but I'll tell you this.
Jones, I'm real
they love Hitler. They love Hamas that Israel founded. And
you little bastard.
And we stood down for Hamas, and the founder of the Sun runs it. We really run it. Yeah.
Well, the thing is
you like my American brooch, Rex?
He spoke at this thing, too.
See how big it is?
Yeah, we got the biggest brooch in town.
He goes, I'm not an Israeli operative. Then I was like, well, we tell you everything to say.
He goes, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who's the best broadcaster of them all? And it shows him Tucker or you, and he goes, yeah.
It's not. I'm not.
He's a jealous little bastard.
No. But he sits there. And he goes, mirror, mirror on the wall. Who has the largest female American flag brooch of them all?
You, Mark. You have the brooch. He goes,
I have the giant brooch worn like an 89-year-old lady at the nursing home on July 4th. I'm wearing it now, and I'm not in the U.S. I don't wear it. But look, there's an American flag right here. Abraham Lincoln behind me, and.
You know, I tuned into his YouTube highlights, and he stole our whole style with the intro. He goes, deep within the bowels, the great one is not resting on his laurels. And you're like, dude, Rush Limbaugh called you that like 30 years ago. He hasn't let go of it. It's really crazy. You know, like one of my favorite things you had is a title don't mean anything. And he's like, I am the great one. The great one is not resting on his laurels.
All right, that really started to just, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what happened, but it just immediately just started making a bunch of fucking noises.
Did we lose it? It's all right. We heard their impressions.
Perfect.
It sounds great. Listen to
that. Oh, we had it.
He's talking about freedom, you fucking queers! Come on now, you expect me to believe that?
Yeah, at least we don't. I'd rather listen to that than Mallory McMorrow. So,
you sure about that?
Yes.
She sounds hideous.
Well, she's a guy, so she tastes like cigarettes.
Time for a little drinking pool. Cheers, genitals.
Shall we end this episode? I'll be off next
Yeah.
week. Corey and Bell will be here, allegedly.
I'll be here next Wednesday.
Maybe I'll pop in on my phone from my shitty service.
You always say that, but you never do.
I never do.
Take
do.
your
But I'll
internet
say
with
it
you.
every year. I'm gonna try. I just realized
Time for-
that I have to get the fucking Starlink satellite off my house to bring it with me to do it. So we'll see if I feel like doing that or not.
Do it.
Okay, you go.
The Sort of
you go over
Podcast
to
is found on what?
Shut up, bitch!
The Sort of Podcast is found on all social media and podcast platforms. Our website is libservativeshow.com. We can be found at Libservative on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitch. Instagram and Twitter, LibservativePod. Our TikTok videos can be found at Libservative Podcast. And you can reach out directly at libservativepod@gmail.com. Subscribe today.
And tell a friend. Word of mouth always helps. They tell a friend, then they tell a friend, then they.
We have white privilege.
We certainly do. For Bella Body Snatcher on the ones and twos, he as always has been Corey Walsh.
And he's Dad Griffin.
It's been Libservative Intellectual Idiots fostering political and cultural literacy and the world's smartest internet show. And until next time, we are out of here.
I never had such a great assistant. I'm going to call you the Goy Wonder.
The great fundamental issue now before our people. We, the people, cannot turn back. Somebody must lead, or else the fight would not be made at all.